The 10 most comfortable shoes that you can buy right now in 2024. Hoka Bondi 8. The Bondi 8 is considered to be Hoka's most comfortable shoe. As you can see, it comes with this insanely thick foam midsole, which is incredibly soft underfoot. Inside the shoe, you've also got an ortholite insole, which just adds to the underfoot comfort. But my favorite part of this shoe is actually the memory foam padding around the top of the ankle area, which makes this shoe just super soft on your heel. The outside of the upper of the shoe is made up of engineered mesh, which apparently is composed of 50% recycled polyester, which is kind of cool. And when it comes to fit, I would say that the Bondi 8 is a standard width and fits pretty much true to size. However, the midsole of the shoe is really wide and makes this actually more of a stability shoe than a neutral running sneaker. Pricing wise, the shoe is not bad. It comes in at a retail price of $160, and if you're lucky, you can actually find pairs of these on sale for even cheaper. Overall, the Bondi 8 is a pretty decent looking shoe, although that midsole is very, very thick and might turn some people off. It's pretty comfortable underfoot. It might not be as soft as some of the other shoes that we're going to talk about later on the list. However, in my opinion, it's the most stable shoe on the list. Number 9, the Adidas Ultra Boost. As you probably could have guessed, because this is a top 10 most comfortable list, the Ultra Boost had to make an appearance. However, this might not have been the pair of Ultra Boosts that you expected me to put on the list. Since the Ultra Boost first released back in 2015, it's been considered one of the most comfortable sneakers of all time. And every couple years, Adidas changes up the design a little bit, but it's usually not to make the shoe more comfortable, it's to make it a better all-around running sneaker, because that's what the Ultra Boost originally was. And while over the last couple years, I've really liked some of the newer Ultra Boost shoes, like the Ultra Boost 20 and the Ultra Boost Lite, there's something about the Ultra Boost 1.0, the first version of the shoe, that I think actually makes it the most comfortable of all the Ultra Boosts. And I don't know exactly what that is, but let me go over some of the things that make up this shoe. First of all, you've got a prime knit upper, at least on the front half of the shoe when it comes to the Ultra Boost 1.0. It's an incredibly soft knit, it's very breathable, and it flexes very, very well. In fact, it feels like a sock on top of your sock, more so than any of the other shoes on today's list. And then the midsole of the shoe is made up of a full-length boost cushion, which feels incredible underfoot. Now, almost all of the newer Ultra Boost sneakers feature way more boost than this shoe has, and while I think that those shoes can in some cases be a little bit softer underfoot, this shoe I think overall is the most comfortable package. And that's because when you pair this super soft prime knit upper with this amount of boost, it just feels great on foot. The newer Ultra Boosts feature different kinds of knit that aren't as soft or as flexible. They also feature different kinds of boost, like Ultra Boost Lite, which is not as soft. And while the Ultra Boost 1.0 was originally designed as a running specific sneaker, it really shone as a lifestyle sneaker. Not only because it was the sneaker of the moment because Kanye West was wearing it back in 2016, but also because this shoe was so comfortable underfoot. And over the last almost 10 years at this point, it's crazy to say, I found myself going back to the Ultra Boost 1.0 over any of the other Ultra Boost sneakers because for me, it just feels the best on foot. Now that might not be the case for you. You might prefer the more boost of the Ultra Boost 19 or 20. However, those shoes, unfortunately, are no longer available on sale. So the only versions of Ultra Boost that you can buy are the 1.0s or versions of the 1.0s and the Ultra Boost Lite. I don't know, maybe the Ultra Boost 22 or 21 or whichever version they were on might still be around on Adidas's website. I couldn't find it that easily. But when you compare the Ultra Boost sneakers that are available for sale right now, at least brand new, the Ultra Boost 1.0 is the most comfortable out of the Ultra Boost 1.0 and the Ultra Boost Lite. And in my opinion, it's just the most comfortable Ultra Boost. I know I just went on a huge rant about the Ultra Boost, which a lot of people probably don't even care about anymore, but it's one of my favorite sneakers of all time. And I don't know, I think the 1.0 is the best version of it. They got it right the first time, what can I say? Well, almost right. Unfortunately, this shoe is very expensive. In fact, it's the most expensive shoe on the list at $190. And sizing wise, while yes, this is a standard width shoe, it does fit a tad bit small. And if you're grabbing the Ultra Boost 1.0, I would suggest either going up a half size or just being fine with a snug fit, which actually is what I did with this shoe. I'm a size 9, this is a size 9. It's snug, but it works. However, in my opinion, that $190 price point is worth it because I think this is the best looking shoe on this list by a mile. And since today's video is about the most comfortable shoes, let's talk about the most comfortable socks. And in my probably biased opinion, because I own the company, well, thank you. Number 8, the Asics Nova Blast 4. The Nova Blast line is one of Asics' most popular running sneaker lines because it's priced well at $140 and it's also very comfortable on foot. As you probably could have guessed, the Nova Blast 4 is the fourth in the Nova Blast line and features a newly sculpted midsole. Aesthetically, one thing that I really love about the Nova Blast is that each version of the shoe features a different design on the midsole, and it's always really intricate and really cool looking. Now, I'll be honest, personally, I think I prefer the Nova Blast 2's design over the Nova Blast 4's. When you turn the Nova Blast 4 on its side, it kind of looks like wheat, especially in this colorway. But it's still a very cool looking sneaker, and this FF Blast midsole is incredibly soft underfoot. And according to Asics, the midsole foam is actually made up of 20% recycled content, which is pretty cool. The top half of of the shoe is made up of a padded mesh upper and feels great on foot. It's not as breathable as some of the other shoes on the list, but it does get the job done. And when you pair this surprisingly plush upper with this very soft FF Blast foam midsole, it's an incredibly comfortable shoe to rock all day. In terms of sizing, I would say that this shoe is standard width and it does fit true to size, and overall it's a good looking and incredibly comfortable sneaker. So if you're trying to only spend like around 140 bucks, this is a great way to go. And I know I just said that this is my least favorite Nova Blast design, but when you compare it to the other shoes on this list, it's actually one of the best looking shoes in today's video. Number 7, the On Cloud Cloud Monster 2. Quite possibly the most unique looking shoe on today's list, the Cloud Monster 2 is On's most comfortable sneaker. This Swiss company's latest Cloud Monster features a textile mesh upper which is very flexible and pretty breathable. The heel of the shoe is very well padded, and of course you've got the iconic Cloud Tech midsole that has made On such a popular brand. Apparently the material used in the midsole is Helium super foam, and you've also got a lot of compression because you've got all these holes that run all the way through the midsole. It's really interesting watching someone walk or run in this kind of shoe because you can really see the compression. These open air areas sort of collapse when someone steps or puts weight on that particular area, and not only does it provide some cushion underfoot, but it also looks pretty cool. Now I'll be honest, I can't say that for the rest of the shoe. The On branding is on every single panel of this shoe multiple times. I mean, it's very obviously an On running shoe, and while the midsole of the sneaker makes this sneaker very comfortable on foot, it's not a shoe that I could see myself wearing a lot, mainly because the rocker shape of the midsole is so dramatic. When you lean forward, you almost fall into your step because it's such a sharp angle. It's not really a big deal, and I'm getting used to it the more that I wear this shoe, but it's something that I didn't find immediately pleasing. That said, On has absolutely made a dent in the running market and has become one of the most popular running sneakers out there, and I've got to say it is very comfortable underfoot. Pricing wise, the On Cloudmaster 2 isn't the cheapest shoe on the list. It comes in at 180 bucks, and when it comes to sizing, the shoe is definitely wider. In fact, I found it was a little bit too wide for me personally. I have a standard width foot. It does fit true to size otherwise, and if you have wider feet, this might actually be a great shoe to go with. If the order of this list was based on uniqueness, this shoe would absolutely take the cake. But in terms of comfort, it's a very comfortable shoe, but it's not my first choice. Number 6, the Saucony Triumph 21. The Triumph 21 is a pretty aggressively styled running sneaker, and I've got to say that I actually really like the way that this sneaker looks. The upper of the shoe comes in what Saucony calls flat knit and feels pretty decent on foot, very breathable on the front half of the shoe and pretty well padded around the heel. There isn't really any padding in the front half of the shoe, and that's why it's so breathable, but it does flex really well, so that's a good thing. The midsole of the shoe is very thick and comes in Saucony's Power Run Plus, which I'm not gonna lie, looks a lot like Boost, actually almost identical to Boost. It feels pretty similar to Boost underfoot as well. However, it might be a little bit lighter than Boost. I might just be imagining that, but it does feel lighter than like the Ultra Boost 19s, even the Ultra Boost Light Boost or whatever they're called. Either way, it's a great cushion and it feels amazing underfoot. I was actually genuinely surprised by how much I like this sneaker. I had liked previous versions of the shoe, but never as much as I like this one, and I think that has a lot to do with the way that it looks. Of course, on foot it also feels amazing. You've got a lot of really nice plush padding around the heel, and then you've got that Power Run Plus, which feels great underfoot. And for 160 bucks, it's relatively easy to recommend this shoe. However, what really tipped me over the edge with this sneaker was the fact that pretty much every colorway of this shoe is on sale for like 130 bucks. Now for that price point, this shoe is a great buy. Now it's possible that there is a newer version of this shoe coming out, and that's why they've got all of the colorways discounted, but if you want to grab this shoe and you like the way it looks, 130 bucks is kind of hard to pass up. And of course, like I already mentioned, if you do want to grab any of these shoes, there are links below and above. When it comes to fit, this shoe is a standard width and it pretty much fits true to size. Number 5, the Asics Gel Nimbus 26. As you can probably tell from the thickness of the midsole of this shoe, this sneaker is Asics' most well-cushioned shoe. The Gel Nimbus 26s feature two different kinds of cushioning technology under feet that make for a very plush underfoot feel. The main cushion on the shoe, the one that you can actually see from the outside, is the FF Blast Plus Eco Foam, and then hidden underneath the heel, sort of cradled by this FF Blast, you've got this pure gel technology, which essentially is a small gel packet underneath your heel so you get double the cushioning. So while the FF Blast Plus is not as soft underfoot as some of the other shoes coming up on the list, when you pair it with that gel, it feels really great specifically under your heel. The upper of the shoe is an engineered knit and is very breathable, especially towards the toe of the shoe. You've got some nice padding around the ankle area, and overall, it's a pretty comfortable package. I mean, of course it is. It's on the top 10 list of most comfortable sneakers of 2024. It has to be comfortable. Design-wise, I'd say that this shoe is pretty sleek. It does lack a little bit of personality other than that chunky midsole, but it's a good looking sneaker overall. When it comes to pricing, this shoe is pretty middle of the road at 160 bucks. It's a standard width shoe and I would say that it fits true to size. Number 4, the Brooks Glycerin 21. The Glycerin line is Brooks' most plush and comfortable underfoot sneakers that they make. While the midsole of this sneaker might not be as absurdly plush as some of the sneakers that we have coming up on the list, when you pair that with this super soft and well cushioned upper, this shoe is just an all around incredibly comfortable experience. The upper of the Brooks Glycerin 21 comes with engineered engineered warp knit, at least that's what they call it. It's also incredibly well padded, especially around the ankle area. It's ridiculously soft, and there's so much padding in the heel. The shoe is relatively breathable, especially around the toe. Obviously, it's not going to be as breathable as some other shoes that have very minimal uppers, but it gets the job done. Of course, the tongue of the sneaker is also well padded, which I like, but the star of the show is the DNA Loft V3 cushion in the midsole. According to Brooks, the 21 is even more plush than the 20 because they added more DNA Loft in the midsole. And what I love so much about this cushion is that it's very soft underfoot, but it's still very springy, and you don't feel like you're falling into it. Like, it doesn't feel like you're stepping into a pillow with no bounce. It's very soft, but it's also very responsive. Visually, I prefer the 21 to the 20. I think the sculpting on the midsole is a little bit nicer, even though it's pretty similar. And while I don't think Brooks make the nicest looking shoes in the world, they're not really trying to make these stylish sneakers. They're trying to make sneakers that look like running sneakers, and I think they do a great job of doing that. The Brooks Glycerin 21 is a standard width shoe and fits true to size. It comes in at a pretty reasonable $160. Number 3, the New Balance Fresh Foam X 1080 V13. This is New Balance's top of the line running sneaker when it comes to max cushion. In fact, on their website it says if they only made one running sneaker, this would be the one that they would sell. I've been doing top 10 lists of the most comfortable sneakers of the year for years at this point, and the New Balance Fresh Foam X 1080 has always been near the top of the list. And this V13 version is no different. The main reason why I like this shoe so much is because not only does it have this incredibly soft and plush midsole, but the upper of the shoe is also very plush and very breathable. The outside of the upper of the shoe is covered in this engineered mesh, and then underneath the engineered mesh, you've actually got this super soft padding pretty much all the way around the ankle area of the sneaker. I mean, even the tongue is super soft and plush, but not too plush to where it kind of pushes into the top of your foot. It's just enough padding to feel very cushiony on top of your foot without kind of causing any discomfort. The midsole of the shoe comes in full length Fresh Foam X, hence the name Fresh Foam X 1080. And man, when I say this shoe is plush underfoot, this shoe is plush underfoot. And there's so much fresh foam, so you really sort of sink into the midsole, which I love. But with that being said, the shoe is still responsive. You still get this bouncy ride, you still get propelled into the next step. It's a great all-around running sneaker. The Fresh Foam X 1080 V13 is also priced really competitively. The retail price of this shoe is just $165. And when it comes to sizing and fit, this version of the 1080s is very similar to last year's version of the 1080s. It fits true to size and it's standard width. Visually, the sneaker is fine. It's not ugly, but it's also not the most attractive shoe in the world. It's the kind of shoe that you can throw on for a run or wear to the office, and it just kind of looks normal. Number 2, the Nike Invincible 3. The Nike Invincible 3 was my last year's pick for the most comfortable sneaker of the year, and even in 2024 when there are a bunch of new sneakers out, I still think it's one of the best. The Invincible 3 comes with a fly-knit upper, which is pretty breathable and flexes with your foot really nicely. It's not very well padded towards the front half of the shoe. It's more of a sock-like fit. However, you do have some padding around the top of the ankle area in the heel. But even without the plush upper that we've talked about on some of the other shoes on the list, the main reason why this shoe is as comfortable as it is and as high on the list as it is because of the Zoom X midsole. Zoom X is Nike's softest underfoot cushion, and you can really feel that as soon as you step into the shoe. Unlike some of their other running sneakers and even marathon sneakers, this shoe does not feature a carbon fiber shank plate, so you don't really get sprung to the next step, but instead your foot is directly on the Zoom X and it feels incredibly soft underfoot. There's a reason why the shoe was number 1 on the list last year, and that's because this Zoom X is so soft underfoot. Unfortunately, the super plush and soft underfoot comfort does come at a pretty high retail price point of $180. The good news is though, because the shoe is about a year and a half old, you can find pairs of these on sale for like $160. I also wouldn't be surprised if a newer version of this shoe comes out later in the year, like an Invincible 4 with some minor improvements over the 3 in the same way that the 3 had some minor improvements over the 2. But we'll just have to wait and see. As of right now in 2024, I haven't heard any information about an upcoming new Invincible sneaker, so it's very possible that the Invincible 3 might not get updated for another year, and maybe we'll get the Invincible 4 the year after. Who knows? But either way, it's still a great sneaker to grab. It's incredibly soft and comfortable underfoot, and if a newer version comes out, you could probably grab this shoe for even cheaper than you can now. Like most other Nike sneakers, the Invincible 3 does fit pretty much true to size and has a standard width. And I actually really like the way that this sneaker looks. There are some colorways of the Invincible 3 that I think are kind of whack, but this particular colorway, I think it's really clean. Number 1, the New Balance Fuel Cell Rebel V4. For the first time in a long time, a Nike sneaker is not at the top of the list. For the last couple years, it's been the Invincible Runs, whether it's the Invincible Run 2s or the Invincible Run 3s, and while the Invincible Run 3 is still near the top of the list, when it comes to plush underfoot cushion, you can't beat the Rebel V4. But that's not the only thing that I love about this sneaker. First of all, this is one of the cheapest shoes on the list, coming in at $140, which means that it's $40 cheaper than the second shoe on the list. Something else that I love about this shoe is how incredibly light this shoe shoe is. I mean, it's probably the lightest shoe on the list. I haven't weighed them all, but it feels incredibly light in your hand. And of course, also on your feet. Now that does have a lot to do with the synthetic mesh upper on the top of the shoe, which to be fair is not as soft as a lot of the other uppers on the list. In fact, it's one of the more minimal uppers on the list. But when you're actually wearing this shoe, the upper kind of melts away into your foot. You forget it's even there, mainly because of how light it is and how much it moves with your foot. So you're really only thinking about the cushioning underneath your foot. So even though this upper isn't the plushest or the softest on the list, you do really forget that it's there. You do have ample padding around the ankle area, which I like, and because it's so thin, it breathes really, really well. But of course, the standout feature on this shoe is the fuel cell midsole, which is incredibly soft underfoot. If I had to compare it to a Nike technology, I'd say it's very similar to Zoom X. In some cases, I'd say it's even softer than Zoom X. I think it's softer than the Invincible 3s. But at least for me, it still provides ample support. Obviously, there are people out there that want more supportive shoes than cushioned shoes, and those people are probably not going to be watching this video, at least not to this point, because all the shoes on the list are crazy cushioned shoes. But if you're one of those people out there who's just looking for the softest underfoot feel, this is the way to go. The testing for this video was pretty comprehensive, and I've got to say, out of all the shoes that I tried, in my opinion, this is the most comfortable. And that, of course, is the reason why the shoe is number 1 on the list. Plus, aesthetically, I actually think this is one of the nicest looking shoes on the list. Yes, the midsole does wrinkle very easily because of how soft the foam is, but because it's sculpted in such an angular and faceted way, you actually don't notice the wrinkles as much as you do on some other shoes on the list, like the Invincible 3s. When it comes to sizing and fit, I would say that the Fuel Cell Rebel does fit true to size. It is obviously a neutral running sneaker, and according to New Balance, it is wide foot friendly. Unlike the On sneakers that I talked about earlier in this video, I didn't feel like I had too much room around my feet. I have a pretty standard width foot, so this shoe fit me fine and I had no issues whatsoever, and I would recommend going true to size with this shoe. And I think if you're a wide footer, you should be fine going true to size as well, so that's what I'd recommend. All around, the New Balance Fuel Cell Rebel V4 is an insanely comfortable shoe. It's an awesome looking sneaker overall, and if you want to check it out for yourself, I've made sure to leave affiliate links through the YouTube shopping tab and in the description below. But hey, that pretty much wraps up the list for today. Thank you all so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't yet. Let me know your thoughts on this list in the comment section down below, and I will see you all in the next one.